Hello everyone, good morning and welcome to today's The Hindu News Analysis. In today's analysis, we'll be discussing about 7 important articles covered in the Hindu newspaper. Starting with a practice question, please pause for a second and try to attempt the question by yourself. After discussing the relevant article, we'll come back to the same question again. Nakash artisans of Nirmal town hit hard by lockdown. So this article is about two groups of artisans and craftsmen whose business was badly affected due to the present lockdown. So here the b- community mentioned are Nakash artisans as well as Dokra metal casters. This article is important from the prelims perspective, which comes under the art and culture syllabus. As we all know, art and culture questions have been increasing year by year, so this topic becomes important. Now, Nakash artisans, who are they? They are known for specialized. They are specialized in making the famous softwood toys known as Nirmal toys and unique Nirmal paintings. And coming to the Dokra brass metal artifacts, they are made by the Oja craftsman of Adilabad and Jamgaon districts in Telangana. So all these people, the artisans and craftsmen, come under in the Telangana state, right? So due to the lockdown, as it is mentioned here, usually their business were mostly by tourists, the visitors who come there. They buy the toys, the artifacts and the paintings, but due to lockdown their business has seen a downfall. So this is the crux of the article. Now it is important for us to read more about Nakash artisans, Nirmal toys and the Dokra brass metal artifacts, right? Now, coming to Nirmal toys. Nirmal toys are traditional Indian wooden toys made in the town of Nirmal in the Adilabad district in the newly formed state of Telangana. You can see an example of Nirmal toys here. These are wooden toys. Also, they also do Nirmal paintings. Nirmal paintings are also a popular form of paintings done in the same Nirmal district, Telangana. They form a small scale industry in the town, right? And they are affected by the present lockdown. That is the crux of the news article. The craftsmen have formed a community, that is the Nakash community, as we already told, and stay normal and practice their art in the form of small scale business. And their paintings have golden hues, as we can see here. Uh, there is a prominence of golden color in these paintings. Now, coming back to the practice question, consider the following about Nirmal toys. It is a traditional toy made in the northeastern state of Tripura. Second statement, Nirmal toys are wooden toys. Now, coming to the first statement, as we all know, they are traditional toys made in the state of Telangana, not Tripura. So, the first statement is wrong. Coming to the second statement, Nirmal toys are wooden toys. It is a right answer. So, the answer becomes option B, 2 only, right? So that is all about the article. The article. Now I'll give you a homework. Here we have mentioned about Dhokra brass metal artifacts, as we can see here. So you should be learning more about Dhokra. What is Dhokra metal artifacts? This is also very important because it is related to metal crafting using brass and using the technique of lost wax technique, as we all might have learned in art and culture about lost wax technique, right? So this is related to it. So just go through the Wikipedia of Dokra brass metal artifacts. Please consider this as a homework and do it. Now, coming to the next topic, Moon Rising. It is an editorial in today's Hindu newspaper. Let me introduce these people here. As you all know, this is Donald Trump, and this is the person in the middle is Moon Jae-in. He is the leader of the South Korea, and the other guy is Kim Jong Un, the leader of the North Korea. So this editorial is about Moon Jae-in winning the recent South Korean elections. South Korea's President Moon Jae-in, who is known for handling the COVID pandemic in a better manner, he also scored a political victory in the parliament elections last week. So, because of these two reasons, Moon Jae-in is in news now. Moon Rising. It also talks about with the more opportunity which Moon Jae-in is having. With more parliamentary seats, the president can follow his reform agenda and North Korean reapproachment without any parliamentary or legislative bottlenecks. Right now, he can more powerful in a more better manner. He can continue the peace talks with North Korea, right? Now, what as of now, what is happening? Like the US and the South Korea have stopped their military exercises for improving the talks with the North Korea. Apart from that, what they can do? Also, there have been uh, there have been various summits which happened between the US and the North Korea. For example, in 2018 there was a Singapore summit, and in 2019 there was a Hanoi summit, as which is as mentioned here, Hanoi and Singapore. And the talks are at a stalemate now because of the contradicting demands by North Korea and US. North Korea wants first economic sanctions to be removed as a precondition for reduction in nuclear testing, whereas US on the other hand wants first to give access to the nuclear sites, and then the relaxation and the economic sanctions will happen. So this has been a stalemate. Now, who has the way forward here? The South Korean leader Moon Jae-in. He has the parliamentary support also. Now he can provide a way forward in the relation between US, North Korea, and South Korea. Right. So this is the article all about. Now, I have just mentioned, briefly mentioned about the summits. In 2018, there was North Korea US Singapore summit, and 2019 North Korea United States Hanoi summit. Now, coming to North Korea South Korea relation, focusing on the current affairs. In 2018, there was Winter Olympics in South Korea, and North Korea participated in it, which improved the relationships. Also, there was a Panmunjom Declaration for Peace, Prosperity and Unification of Korean Peninsula in April 2018. So these are the two current affairs related to North Korea South Korea relations. You can also briefly go through the Korean War, which is still continuing, which started in 1950s, and other issues which are related to North Korea and South Korea. Okay. Now, coming to the article of the day, the main article of the day, the invisible face of the fallout. This article focuses on the plight faced by women during disaster times. So this article provides a view on the gender dimension about of disasters. Why women are more affected compared to men. So giving some examples, they are telling this. Here you can see that during the tsunami recovery phase, the aid organization and government houses the homeless in the camps where women face many difficulties, including abuse by men. So, as you all know, in the relief camps and all, the abuse takes place. Uh, and even there are the sanitation, the hygiene and all is very less in the relief camps, which is very important for women, right? Also, in the United States, which has high incidence of tornadoes, families headed by women are affected the most, right? So, also coming to the Kerala floods, even many had gone to relief camps and all. Also, there was an instance where flood destroyed kitchens forced women to cook in the open air with whatever they are left with, right? So, women are facing more impact and increased burden due to disasters. As we have discussed, tsunami, we have discussed tornadoes, and in coming to Kerala floods, we have discussed. Also, now coming to the pandemic, the present coronavirus pandemic, what is how there is an increased burden on women, we'll analyze it now. According to World Health Organization, around 70% of the world's health workers are women, and 79% of the nurses are women. So they become the most vulnerable to the COVID-19 disease, right? Also, India has a million plus ASHA workers, accredited social health activists, who are an integral part of the health system. How? Because they work on the ground level and they report the incidents of attacks while, report incident, and they work in the ground level, right? So, uh, what happens is, as we have already seen, there recently there have been many news where ASHA workers were attacked by people when they go to collect the data. So here also the women is more affected. Also coming to the households, nowadays the work from home concept has been increased. Now it puts an additional burden on women. First of all, they have their work to do. Also, they have their household chores which have to be done. Earlier, usually men used to go out for work, so the women's burden in the households were less. But now it has increased. Also, this COVID-19 has increased domestic tensions and increased violence against women. This is also another dimension of the issue faced by the women. Also, the other aspects like the hormone induced depression among the women is another key point that needs to be understood and acknowledged. We know the hormone induced depression is due to PMS, PPDs, and etc. Right? So, this is another dimension where women are facing issues. Now, coming to the way forward, what can be done about it? So here the article is mentioning about assigning ASHA workers to specifically address the women's welfare during this pandemic. There should be exclusive cells to quickly address domestic violence and women health related issues. There should be online counseling for alcoholism in men. Also, we should be able to rope non-governmental organizations, NGOs, psychology students, teachers, and volunteers, and also use the help of technology to find solutions for the issues faced by women. So, what is important is to develop a culture of including women's safety in the planning phase itself. We should not think about women's safety after issues happen. We should consider it at the planning phase itself, irrespective of whatever the nature of crisis is. So, this is a very good article, very important for mains answer writing, especially in the GS1 under social issues, and even it can come under GS3 under disaster management. Right now, coming to another article, China says Indian trade curbs are against WTO principle. Curbs means controls. Recently, we all know that India has put in effect FDI restrictions against China mainly. So China has responded against it. India's recent policy to curb opportunities takeovers of domestic companies goes against the WTO principles as set by China. We all know that India has limited the FDI from countries which have a land border with India. That is especially targeting the China. As we know, as we have seen that China is increasingly buying the equities of Indian companies and trying to take over the managerial and the ownership roles, right? So India has put down this restriction because of this reason, and China has responded negatively against it. So this is the first response from the Chinese side. So India had already, as we already said, India has imposed restrictions saying companies from countries that share border with India can only invest under the government route. Earlier it was under the automatic route. Automatically they could invest in FDI, but now only through government route they can invest in Indian companies. Also, the Chinese official, he said that the Chinese investment is very important in various sectors of the Indian economy. For example, telecom, infrastructure, automobile, household goods, etc. So I guess this will become an issue. China might file a complaint in the WTO against the restriction placed by India. So coming to a continuing article, the editorial today's editorial also talks about the same topic. We'll go into that. So takeover fears. So what the article is saying is that the recent FDI restriction is mainly against the Chinese investors who could exploit. I mean, who could exploit cheap valuations in the depressed economic conditions to pick up equity in Indian companies, right? So India is not the only country to do so. Other countries like Italy, Spain, France, and Australia have already taken similar actions to protect their business from foreign investors, especially the Chinese. In this COVID scenario, now coming to Brookings India study, the total investment which is already existing and planned by China is over $26 billion, which is a very huge investment in India, right? So doesn't the FDI restrictions affect the Indian companies, the cash flow of the Indian company, the cash availability of the Indian companies, and in turn it can badly affect the Indian companies too. So the article is discussing about that, how this policy of India might negatively affect Indian companies. As we all know, Chinese companies like Alibaba and Tencent have funded a host of Indian names such as Paytm, Swiggy, Ola, Zomato, and Big Basket. These are very important companies which are the major players in the online market now, right? So these companies have significant Chinese investments. So here the article is telling that what could have been done, instead of what have been done, what could have been done to control the Chinese investment. So here they mention about greenfield investment. Greenfield investment are investment in the new companies, like new investments rather than in existing companies. Existing companies, the investment is called as brownfield investments. So coming to greenfield invest, the greenfield investment should have been kept out of the FDI restriction, as they do not pose a threat of takeover. On the contrary, they create new capacities and businesses. So they are telling that we should have avoided greenfield companies from this, because if Chinese investment is there in greenfield companies, they would have grown, and the Chinese won't be interested in taking like new companies. They'll be interested in the existing companies which are already big, not in the greenfield projects, right? So these greenfield investments could have been avoided. Also, there should have been a distinction between the class of investors, as we are already seen 2 days before. There are FDI also, there are FPI also. Only FDI involves in ownership transfers, but FPI involves in cash transfers. So we could have just targeted the FDIs. FDIs means uh, those who are interested in taking over and running a business. Taking over means taking over the ownership and running the business. We could have just targeted them instead of a blanket restriction. So uh, that was another thing. Again, what happens to FDI that comes through entities registered in countries that do not share a land border in India? So we have restricted only the land borders, right? So what if there is another company which is in a country which doesn't share a land border with India, but they have significant ownership to China? So what about these countries? They also have Chinese ownership. They just don't have a land border. For example, that company headquarters might be in US or some other place. What about these companies? So that is also a lacuna in the present policy. So these lacunae should be addressed to ensure that the economic stability of the country should not be affected. Also, and we should also ensure that the Chinese don't take over Indian companies. So these two things should be balanced. Now coming to the next article, Finance Ministry sets time frame for banks to disburse loans. As we already know, from April 20 yesterday, there have been relaxations. Okay, the business activities have resumed on Monday after the lockdown. Then the Finance Ministry told that we should ensure credit flow to companies, and we have to set a specific time frame within which credit will reach these companies. So as we all know, COVID-19 is happening, so the banks will be a bit risk averse, and they won't be much interested to give more loans, right? But the Finance Ministry has strictly told the banks that you should be giving loans to you should be giving loans to companies, and you should be giving it within a specific time period. So this is what the Finance Ministry guidelines. Also, they have mentioned something more specific, like the banks have to complete the disbursement within 6 to 9 working days, right? Also, coming to loans which are below 5 crore to existing borrowers, that has to be processed within 6 to 9 days. And while facilities of 5 crore and above needs to be processed within 12 to 15 working days. So they have mentioned, given a classification. Below 5 crores, give the loans within 6 to 9 days. Above 5 crores, take 12 to 15 days. But they have specified the limit within which the loan should be disbursed. So what is the benefit of this? It will improve the cash flow in the economy, resulting in increased demand of the economy, which will in turn strengthen the economy in the long term, right? So this is an example of a stimulus, an economic stimulus which the government is being providing to the companies. Now, coming to the last topic today, plea in Supreme Court seeks full refund for airfares. So here, as we all know, there are many people who have booked aeroplane tickets before the lockdown has happened. So what happened now? Now the aeroplanes are already cancelled, but the airline companies have taken a decision that they won't be refunding the money to the passengers. But instead, what they will do? They will make credit shells. For example, if I have taken a ticket which I already have for this interview process and I didn't get a refund back. So for people like this, they have created a credit shell where, for example, in my case, I can travel in the same airline using the same money which is already there. They won't be giving the money to us. It will be remaining as a credit with themselves. I can travel in the next 1 year in the same aircraft to the same place. So this is the kind of guidelines which have been issued. So it's like, what about a person who don't want to travel in the next 1 year? For them, the money is completely lost. So the plea in Supreme Court seeks full refund for airfares, because it's not the prerogative of the airlines to decide what they should do with our money. The people are entitled to get back their money when the airlines are cancelled, right? So, and even the, so coming to the article, the petition filed, it seeks that the company should fully refund tickets. Also, the petition is filed by the Pravasi Legal Cell. It also challenges the office memorandum of the Civil Aviation Ministry, which covers only the refund of tickets booked during the lockdown period. The Civil Aviation Ministry also came with a guideline. It said that the tickets which are booked during the lockdown period, during those 21 days lockdown period, they will be refunded. But if the ticket is booked before 21 days lockdown period, even though the flight was during the lockdown period and it got cancelled, those tickets won't be refunded. So this is a very bad logic which has been applied by the Civil Aviation Ministry. So this plea is being challenged in the Supreme. I mean, this decision is being challenged in the Supreme Court. Also, it says that the plea says that the official office memorandum is a clear violation of the fundamental rights guaranteed under the Constitution, insofar as directing the airlines to provide full refund of ticket amount only if ticket is booked during the lockdown period, as I already mentioned, which amounts to treating equals unequally. So here they are invoking the Article 14 of the Indian Constitution. Article 14 of the Indian Constitution says that there shall be equality before law and equal protection of laws. So under equal protection of laws, they mention about treating equals equally. But here what is happening? They are treating equals unequally. For example, those who are booked tickets during the lockdown, they have been refunded, and those who booked the tickets before the lockdown, they are not being refunded. This is what they call as treating equals unequally, right? And coming to the credit shell, which I already told you, airlines, instead of providing full refund amount collected for the tickets due to cancellation, they are providing a credit shell which is valid up to 1 year. In the next 1 year, I can travel using that same credit. That's what they are planning. So let's see what happens. So this will be a coming continuing news, what the Supreme Court decides and all. So let just keep following the news. Now there are some other important articles. You can just read through it. The first is the speed of virus infection slows, doubling time rises in 18 states. Page 1. West Bengal begins rapid antibody testing. Page 9. So this I am not discussing in details because the same topics have been covered in the previous videos. For example, rapid antibody testing we have done. Even the doubling rate of virus slowing down, we have done it earlier. Coming to the third topic, Arogya Setu app a must for laborers, says Central Public Works Department, CPW. Now learn about Arogya Setu app. It's Arogya Setu, not setup. Arogya Setu app. So this is an app released by the government to fight the COVID pandemic. It uses Bluetooth and location settings to see whether a person is safe or not, and it can be used by the government for data collection also. So this is about Arogya Setu app. So that's all for today. I hope to you like the video. If you like the video, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon for instant update. This is very important because many people were asking me. I have already subscribed, but I am not getting the notification. If you want instant notifications, you have to press the bell icon. Okay, I hope you like the video. Have a nice day. Thank you.